Hello, friends, and welcome to another episode of We Read It One Night, the romance podcast that talks about books that'll make you want to stay up all night reading. This week, we're diving into Sarah J. Maas's A Court of Wings and Ruin, and we're asking the important questions about the ACOTAR universe, such as, how do the Bat Boys sleep? Who do we talk to about our pitch for the fairy fashion industry? If you're just joining us, you can check out our episodes on the first two ACOTAR books linked in the description. If you enjoy this episode or any other one, please drop us a rating and review on your podcaster. You can also support the show by checking out our Etsy shop and Patreon page in the description. As always, thank you so much for listening and enjoy the show. Listener, Peter, the cat that Rachel brought to Pennsylvania. I've decided, by the way, his full name is Peter Parker. Like Spider-Man. So we had to really we have two baby gates, many yards of mesh, yarn. We really had to go through it to make the exit to his room unescapable because he was really good. All you hear, he scales to the top of the second baby gate. I thought that I'd secured it properly with mesh, but no, he finds a spot that's big enough for his head to fit through. And once he gets his head through,
I remember you said you were
over.
like, oh, well, his head can fit, but I don't think his collarbones. And I was like, wait, I don't know much.
We already learned this. We already learned that from the bottom baby gate.
I don't know much, but I thought the rule was if their head can fit through, you're fucked.
That's why we got the netting to begin with, which is netting that you're made for putting around your garden so the deer don't eat it. That's what the netting is.
The cat is stronger than deer. That's what we've learned. Yeah.
So yeah, listener, Peter is an escape artist, but I think that I finally, knock on wood, found a arrangement that he cannot escape from, because it has foiled him multiple times over the past 24 hours. So yeah.
That's fair. Oh, okay. Ever since 2008, I've struggled to find yoga pants, flare leggings, as they call them now, that are long enough for me because I'm very tall. And first of all, they're usually too short. Second of all, added to the mix is that they don't all have pockets anymore, which is really fucking annoying. So that's a requirement. It has to have pockets. It has to be not totally ugly. That's the problem. It's finding ones that are flattering in it, but that's really hard to find, is ones that are not totally hideous, long enough, and have pockets. It's so hard. I found some, I found some at Fabletics, surprisingly has tall sizes, but they're ugly. I did actually order some because I couldn't try them on in stores, so I'm vaguely hopeful that they'll look better, but I'm very mentally prepared to immediately return them. I ordered the ones from Athleta, which does have long, shout out to them. First of all, it wasn't that long. It's no, they were just really, really unflattering. I'll send you pictures, so ugly on me. And I love their leggings. It's a Salutation Stash flare, and I have multiple pairs of those leggings, and I love them. They look great, but the something about the pants are just awful. I could be the problem. I feel maybe I'm just not. But anyway, I got some from Abercrombie yesterday, which actually their normal length is actually long enough. I'll send you a picture. And
Abercrombie has really been coming through on the pants department with me. Yeah, I'm really shocked.
Really?
They didn't used to.
And they're flattering enough, but this is where I really compromise. They don't have full pockets. They just have a stupid waistband pocket, which luckily is at least in the front instead of the back, so it's not as, but it's really not they were less than a third of the price of the Athleta ones also, though, which is why I was okay,
yeah,
if I'll buy these for now, and if I find some that are flattering and have pockets, I won't be so mad and be kicking myself. And I realized I guess there's people, I don't know, I guess at least for me, leggings and skinny jeans, things that taper at the ankle, I just feel there's so much more standard. I could be totally wrong. There could be different cap, but as long as there's some stretch to them. Whereas flare, every flare pant is different. You know what I mean? Flare doesn't mean the same thing. So you have no idea if that's going to look good on what you're buying. It's going to hit a different place on every person. It's going to be a different width. So depending on how big your cap is. Anyway.
Yeah.
This has consumed me. Athleta. I thought I kept not delivering my package, so that I was waiting on tenterhooks, and then they were really ugly. So I had to return them. But anyway, I have these Abercrombie ones, but they don't have pockets, and I know it's going to piss me off, and I can't believe I'm compromising my principles. But
well, listener, you have suggestions for flare leggings / yoga pants of yore with pockets. High-waisted also.
Yeah, and
high-waisted.
Not too boot, not fully boot cut. I don't like that either. That doesn't look good. like flare, but like not, you know what I mean? Like not
I
like
don't think I think
totally
boot
wide
cut is
leg,
more is straighter than you think. Oh, yeah.
not totally for straight, not like dropping down straight from like above the knee or
Yeah.
something, or the
Like
knee, you
actual
know,
flare.
like somewhat hugging your thighs and then like gradually, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But also not the stupid, like I tried on these awful ones at Fabletics that were like basically fitted exactly like leggings at the very bottom. They like became straight. And I was like, this just looks
Mm.
really stupid. They have slits. That's the thing now. I mean, I don't begrudge them the slits. I tried on slit ones at Abercrombie too, which were better, but
Your face in this first photo looks so confused.
yeah, because I'm like, why
Looks
would you do
so
this?
angry.
This is like Abercrombie's version of the slit ones. They'll send you like they're
Okay.
better. I don't think the slit is inherently makes them ugly. It's just like
Yeah, I think it does.
mm, okay. Well, people used to like
Yeah.
cut holes in their sweatpants.
People used to cut holes in their sweatpants because they cut the bottom to release the elastic so it wouldn't be tight. It wasn't like a
Yeah.
fashion
No, I know.
thing.
Well, it like kind of became a fashion thing, like most things like that. You know what I mean? Kind of like tying your t-shirts.
Sure.
Today we are doing book 3, part 1, A Court of Mist and Fury.
No. Wings and Ruin because
God
it's
damn it. Oh, okay. The
war.
names I can't ever
I
remember.
know. I only remember because it's war because they have a war in this book. So it's
Why
ACO
would because they're
War.
ruining people's lives with their wings.
Wings and Ruin. Sure.
I'm sorry, Mist and Fury could easily be for war. That's much more. I'm
Yes, I
sorry.
understand. No, I know that, Rachel. I understand that. I'm just saying the acronym is war. ACO War.
Oh, I see.
So it's the one
Akawar.
with the war.
Mm.
That's how I get Mist. I don't remember that Mist and Fury is the second one. I remember that it's not the first one and it's not the third one, and therefore it must be number two.
I finally was able to remember what Mist and Fury was because I think the cover is like green or like teal, which
It
like
is
it's
green.
more misty than pink somehow, you know. Like that's giving mist
The
more than
pink is
pink.
for blood.
Yes, exactly. And the green is, but there's two pinks. Like the first one's pink and the
Well, the
right.
first one's red. First one's like red.
They're thorns because you prick your finger, and the roses are also red.
Also, Feyre gets pretty bloody by the end of that.
Good point.
Really fucks her up.
I feel like that's true in all of these, though.
Yeah, that's true. You know who else is
I
bloody at
just
the
can
beginning
never
of this
remember the
book?
name of like the mist of the Wings and Ruin one. Like it's not that I like, mixed it up; it's I just can't remember what it is. Who else gets
Yeah.
pretty bloody? Who else? Who does, Allison?
Reese in this prologue.
I thought you were gonna
Because
say
he has
Ianthe.
well, yes, but that's not until later. I actually really excited to do this book because I don't remember. I remember like the like major plot things at the very end. Like I remember how most of it wraps up, but the
Yeah.
beginning, and I remembered this beginning part because for whatever reason, I really enjoy rereading like when Feyre like just before Feyre escapes the spring court to like her
Mm-hmm.
like getting to the apartment in or the townhouse in
Mm-hmm.
Valaris. I
Yeah.
just like really enjoy rereading that part. So I was
Mm-hmm.
like really familiar with the things that we're going to talk about in this episode. And then I don't remember anything else. So it's almost as if I haven't read it.
Yeah. That was like, yeah, I agree. I don't remember much either. And that's like, it's such an, I guess it's probably not actually unusual. Like if I read more like fantasy, I don't know, but like the way that it broke, the books were like broken up location wise, like the fact that she goes back in the beginning, you know what I mean? Like that's just like, it feels unusual. Like usually it's like once they leave the place, they're like gone. It's not like another, you know? And
Yeah.
like it's 2 books in a row that are kind of broken up like that.
Yeah. She always starts out at the spring court and then ends up,
Ends up back at the night court.
well, the first one, she doesn't end up in the night court,
No,
but
that's what I mean. That's two
yeah.
books, but like, yeah, it's interesting that it happened twice. I had a nickel for every time Feyre started on the spring
Every
court and
time
ended up in a,
Sarah J. Maas
which
made
isn't a
Sarah go back
lot.
to the spring
Yeah,
court.
which isn't a lot, but it's kind of weird that it happened twice. Um,
Reese is bloody at the beginning because we get a little prologue, a little peek into Reese Boy's POV.
mm-hmm.
And it's just him and in the war. And he's in the middle of the continent. He's in the continent in this scene because
So
I guess the
Europe.
war took place in the continent. I was
Well,
under the
yeah, that makes
impression that the
sense.
war was only on Prithian this whole
What?
time.
Why? No, you weren't. No, no, no. We knew
I know, but in my head, when I
like
imagined it,
when you were rereading it or what? No, because
yes,
we've talked about this about
I
like how
know.
the Scotland thing, yeah,
I
and like
know.
Prithian is like a tiny bit of it because like the humans got way more land on the continent. Okay,
I
okay,
know. I know this reasonably. But the whole time I was like, wait, he's fighting a battle on the continent. What is he doing? Reese, what are you doing in the middle of Europe?
It's just, she's like, did you just launch into a new battle without like telling us? Like, is this like in the modern day? Where is your tank?
Why don't we have more of the continent? And then I remembered, I was like, why don't we have any scenes there? Why don't we have any books that why don't we get showed that? And I feel like that's going to come
They don't live there
in the next few books. But then I also remembered the Throne of Glass series. That book also has a continent. It's like island. It's like England, Europe. It's the same setup.
Of course. Classic setup. Did you finish all those books?
Yes, I did. And the reason I bring this up is there are 7 books in the series. And the 6th book takes place on the continent. And it's the continent and like that kingdom and like those characters. So I was like, maybe we're only 4 books in, technically, plus 1 novella. Maybe she will also do that with the ACOTAR series.
Have us go to the continent in like the last.
Yeah, maybe we'll find, because I feel like Jurian, Lucian, and like the Phoenix lady, they're not on Prithian. Like they're like over on, she's on this like burning lake or whatever.
And she said that it's going to be like 6 books, you know, not counting the Christmas novella.
Is it going to be 6 books? That's what she said.
No, I'm asking.
I know that 6 books were announced. I know there were 3. There are 3 more books like on Goodreads. Anyway, so Reese Boy is in battle. And the quote is he says, "It took most of my strength to keep my wings from dragging on the ground." And I'm like, so does Reese have real wings or not? Did we ever establish this?
Can he tuck them away or what?
He can hide them.
Right.
But I was always under the impression that the same way Feyre like conjures her wings, because like Feyre can conjure wings, right? Because she has shape shifting. But like similar to that, I was assuming Reese was like, I want to be an Illyrian with wings too. And he like grows his own wings and then like pops them out when he doesn't want them out. I was under the impression they were fake.
Well, so you're saying he should have been able to put them away instead of dragging them?
So it seems that he has real wings.
Okay.
Is what I'm saying.
Well, Feyre has trouble keeping her wings up too. So the popping thing doesn't necessarily solve it. Okay, 2 possibilities. One is that he can pop them in and out of existence. Like that's just like part of his magic. Yeah, I guess maybe that's just like what happens when you're like a half Illyrian. But he doesn't want to do it because he wants to be able to like run away at any time.
That seems silly though, because A, he could winnow, and B, like if he's this tired that his wings are dragging on the ground.
Maybe he wasn't as good at magic then or something.
Yes, but like he would have to be
a wee baby boy. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, well, wait, how would...
No, Rachel, because he was slaughtering on the battlefield before you were even born.
No, because you're right. Like shapeshifting isn't his power. Like, yeah, Feyre could turn into anything. It doesn't have to be. Like Feyre is the one who's like, I want to be an Illyrian warrior, which is like really silly. I have no idea. I have no fucking clue. I just assumed, well...
That seems to be that Reese always has the wings, and then he just makes them disappear when he doesn't want other people to see them.
He glamours them or whatever.
Seems to be what it was. Yeah, he glamours them away. Which makes me think, like, do you ever think that there was a time, because we get in this book, we established like we get kind of the rules of the glamour, which is that like the quote unquote essence is still there.
Right. Yeah.
So like, do you think it ever happens that like Reese is like walking down the hallway and someone like, you know, it's crowded, someone's like trying to scooch past, he's like, oh, let me just scooch past you, and they like smack right into his way.
Well, yeah, or he's like, you know, they're sensitive, so they get yeah, I know. Yeah, that's really bold. I don't know. The whole wing thing just doesn't really make sense. Like they're like, oh well, we build like special chairs, but like, okay, what does that look like and how do you sleep? Like just wasn't really thought. You just gotta suspend disbelief a little bit on the wing front.
Yeah, because that's the thing. Because if you're thinking of them like, okay, so they're leathery wings, right? They're not like birds' wings. They're closer to like bat wings or like dragon wings.
Right.
But they still like that means you have to like tuck it into your side. And both of those still don't sleep on their back. Like bats and all of those don't.
They sleep upside down. They may sleep upside down.
Sleep upside down.
That's just like not said.
Feyre wakes up in the middle of the night and Reese is just like
that's why he has a 4-poster. That's why he has a 4-poster bed so that he can hang from somewhere. It's everything that Edward Cullen can never do. So it really is a Twilight fan fiction.
He doesn't float off.
Like apparently quail. Yeah.
Yeah, quail. Did you see that? Did you send me that video or did we just separately see it?
I think we separately saw it.
saw it.
Yeah.
Listener, quails have to be in either, what is it, an enclosure that
No,
is
not square feet, but 2 foot like ceiling, or less than a 2 foot ceiling, or more than a 6 foot ceiling. Because otherwise, when you come in to like feed them, they'll get so startled that their instinct is to just like rocket up into the air. But I don't know why. Like, what's the plan there? Are they supposed to like fly away? But
yeah.
anyway, if it's more than 2 feet but less than 6 feet, they can get up so much momentum that they break their little necks, they smack their little heads on the ceiling. But if it's less than 2 feet, then they can't like get fast enough. And if it's more than 6 feet, then they can like slow themselves down before that happens. I wonder like what the plan is. Yeah, do you think they're just like trying to fly away? Like, do you think quail
Yeah,
in
I
the
think they're
wild
trying
like
to
they don't just
fly
like go up
away.
and down like chicken? Quail can quail
No,
fly?
because what do you do
How
like when you
well?
go hunting? They like
Startle them.
they like send people into the bush to like whack around so that the quails like start
Pop out.
flying
It's
or
really
whatever.
sad. That's
Yeah.
so lame. Yeah. Lame. And pathetic.
Losers. Just quails just want to live their stupid little lives with their stupid little bird
Yeah.
brains.
Fucking with them. Yeah.
They have tiny eggs
It's
and
not
even tinier
stupid. It's
brains.
really smart to try to like fly away. Not if someone's trying to fucking shoot at you, but like what predator is like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, the hawk isn't gonna like come at you from the ground and then swoop in somehow, you know?
Yeah.
Usually if it's a predator, it's on the ground, you can get away in the air. Hence the benefit of being a quail. Okay.
Yeah.
So we get this honestly pointless flashback of the battle. I don't know what
What's
the
the
point
point
of
of
this is.
this?
I don't, just to bookend the book nicely.
Just a reminder, Reese has trauma. There
Like
wasn't like
yeah,
we
he's like
know.
looking for Cassian on the battlefield. Yeah, like we know,
We
we
got
got
a whole
it.
chapter
I
last
know.
book about him detailing this. Like we already got this.
Just to like orient you a little bit. And then we flash back to Feyre, and like, yeah, I totally even forgot that she was like double agenting in the spring court
Like,
this
what the
whole
fuck are you
time.
doing here,
Honestly.
Feyre? But she's
Yeah.
so dramatic in this opening chapter. She's like I get that you're angry and you have a right to be angry because Tamlin really did like fuck you over a lot. But she's literally like, I'm the best spy ever. No one suspects me. I am vengeance. I am justice. And I'm like, you're 20 years old and you can barely read.
Probably has
What
some
do
brain
you
damage
mean?
from starvation. Yeah, at a formative
Like,
age. Like,
and you're probably drawing stick figures because she's painting at the beginning. And the image of her, like, just drawing stick figures, she's like, this is some of my best work.
she can like magically read really well by this point, which doesn't really make sense.
No, it doesn't make
But
sense at all.
whatever. Like, I don't know. Does anyone out there, I don't know, is there anyone out there that like learned to read really late? And like, do you really get that good at it within?
And we never get her reading. You know what I mean? Like she has those scenes where she's like, where Reese is like teaching her how to read and write, but it's not like we're getting presented with
Just
a
the
bunch of
practice.
scenes. Yeah, where
Right.
she's like
Right. I was
practicing.
gonna say, because they go like research in the library later in this book, but like you're right. That's the only, that's like, she's, I can already like read really well by that point. Like she can read like academic
Can
texts.
she? Is this just like the painting?
That's why Reese has to like, yeah, like Reese like winnows away at one point, like in the library, and he's like, I promise I'll talk to you in like just like 2 hours of research. And it's because she just like
It's because she'll be done with like a page.
and she'll be like, okay, great research, great job, team. He's like, right, okay, this is really sweet. That being
He's
said,
like, you're cute.
we're supposed to, yeah, we do actually have to find these answers, yeah. So like academic, yeah, we're supposed to believe that she can read like literally like academic texts
And like
theory,
old texts.
right, like not even the same language, like
yeah.
yeah.
Like she's like reading Shakespeare. This would be like someone learning to read 6 months ago, popping out Shakespeare. And
Right.
like,
Right.
no.
With like immediate comprehension, like no need to like look things up.
Like
Yeah.
illiteracy is not funny. Illiteracy is serious, but like Sarah.
Not funny, huh? Yeah.
It's not funny, haha. It's funny weird.
So she wanted her to be illiterate, but then for like a minute, just for plot reasons.
She was
and
like,
then,
again, we had to make it completely different than Aelin. She has to be a different character.
Wait, why do we think she was drawing stick figures? What were you saying?
There's like a fan theory that Feyre is actually really bad at painting and everyone's just like pretending. And so like in this first chapter, Feyre is like, this is some of my best work, like looking at her painting. And I'm just imagining like crayon drawing a fire.
It's like what's her face can't read. The girl from Glee. What's her name?
What?
The girl from Glee. Lea
Michelle.
Lea Michelle can't read. Is that her last name, or does she go by like her first and middle name or two first names?
I don't know. It's probably her middle name. Lea Michelle Safart. Wait. Safarti. She was born in the Bronx. Edith Thomasina and Mark David Safarti.
It's a cool name.
They're Italian and Sephardic Jew. Well, her father's
Mm.
Jewish and he's from Greece. So that explains the last name.
Oh. So Feyre is, yeah, super spy. She's like using her mind powers to see if anyone is like spying on her. And like she like really gets lax like by within like 15 pages. Like at first she's like, I'm just like so careful. But then I don't know, that seems to like pretty much immediately drop. Lucian is still suspicious of her. And he's also suspicious of Ianthe, though, to his credit, who is like back
I
in
don't
the
think he's
game and
even
like still
suspicious of
sucks.
Ianthe. He's like, Ianthe is evil. Like, I know this 100%.
For sure. Yeah. So even though like Tamlin is like team Ianthe, like we have this fucking
Yeah.
stupid treaty, or there's this stupid what's the word, like deal bargain.
Yeah. And Jurian is also there. Jurian, the resurrected human, who for some reason they all believe is siding with the guy who wants to enslave
Kill
all
all the
humans.
humans. Yeah, I don't understand. And I don't understand why he was like brought back anyway, like from the King of Hybern's perspective. Like that doesn't make sense, but
It doesn't. And all, but also like Jurian is like, this is like a little bit later in this first part, but like he's talking to Feyre and he's like, I don't believe, like, you're full of shit. Like, I don't believe that Rhys is evil because like I fought with Rhys and like he was always really nice and
right.
he's like far too smart to have this not be a calculated move. And I was like, you don't think that if Jurian can put that together, that he might not be applying the same tactic? Like,
Right. Like, yeah. And just the fact that, yeah, it doesn't make any sense that she's like, of course, he's just like driven by vengeance. It's almost the opposite of what Feyre is doing. Feyre is driven by like angry vengeance at her ex.
The evil incest twins have arrived.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what their names are, but they work for Hybern,
It's not important.
and
They're
they
not going to be
definitely
alive for
fuck.
long.
This is a Cersei,
Yeah, it's
Jamie
Cersei,
situation.
Jamie, Cersei situation.
Oh God.
Yeah.
And they're reading minds.
Yes. And Feyre, to her credit, like still protects Lucian and Tampon's minds from the twins, even though she's like trying to take them down. Because I guess she's like, I can take them down, but like you can't take them down. So I guess her way of taking them down kind of takes on Hybern too, because well, he really only wanted them to like get through their lands, you know. He didn't really care about, I don't think he cared about Tamlin's forces per se.
You know, she really didn't like think through this whole plot past, I want to get revenge on my boyfriend and destroy make everyone hate him.
Get through it.
Like she didn't think that like maybe weakening the spring court isn't a good idea because it's the first barrier.
Well, but they have a deal with Hybern already.
Yeah.
It doesn't really matter. Or like they die if they. Anyway, these twins are here from Hybern. They're with Jurian.
Minds.
They won't like tell them why they're there, and no one's suspicious with Feyre. But they keep going on all these like little missions with Feyre, like little day trips, and overnight trips, to like go look at the wall and like look for holes. And Feyre's like, oh, I'm gonna figure out what they're doing, and like doesn't really seem to question the fact that they're making it really obvious and like even telling her when she asks. Like they're rude about it, but like they tell her they're. And she's like, like no reason to be of course why wouldn't they trust me? I'm just like the silly, stupid, like wife of Tamlin, whatever, girlfriend of Tamlin. Like I'm no threat. Like that must be why. And it's like, right. They've been around the block.
They're like 1,000 years old, Feyre.
Right.
Like, come on.
And like really good at evil.
Come on. You don't become the incest twins of the continent for nothing. Like, come on.
Right.
Come on. Also, this whole time, Feyre, it's like plot twists that they're like poisoning all the food with Feybane to like make everyone like lose their powers. And this whole time, like ever since they arrived, Feyre's like, I keep getting these headaches every time I use my powers. Like, it's crazy. I didn't get enough sleep last night. And I'm like, you never once questioned why you're suddenly feeling like shit.
I know. I really feel like fairies, the same way that vampires don't get headaches, except for like Alice with the fucking vampire demon baby. I feel like fairies probably don't get headaches either, unless it's like something like sus, with, like something sus awry in the magic.
Like she's too focused setting her own trap that like she can't see the other trap coming. And like, listen, to be fair, I too did not see this coming the first time I read this book.
You gotta play defensively.
But I'm not the one with migraines.
Right, and I'm not the one like trying to make a fucking try. Like I just wouldn't. I'd be opting out of that one. I would have like went it away a while ago.
Yeah.
She could so easily do that.
She does have an iconic moment against Ianthe
Are we skipping? We're not going to go there. Are we skipping? So,
Are we skipping what? Wait, are we skipping what?
oh, I know, just the fact that like Tamlin totally went off the deep end. Apparently, Lucian had to replace him in the spring court, right?
Oh
Which does lead
yeah.
up to the Ianthe thing. And I don't know, why
Palatine.
did he have to fuck Ianthe? I thought they just like picked a
Because
random
someone has to
person.
fuck. And Ianthe was like, it'll be even stronger because I'm the high priestess. So it'll be even more magic,
I thought
basically.
I thought they were supposed to go into like werewolf form basically and like pick a random person that they're most attracted
Well,
to.
maybe Lucian's not from the spring court, so he doesn't have a werewolf form. So him and I,
Mm,
they were just like, let's do it. Except Lucian was like, I hate
mm,
everything about this. I
yeah,
want to
okay,
kill
that
myself.
tracks. Also, Farrah's servant slash friend Alice is like, I'm loyal. She's like, you're too fat to fit into any of your crowns.
And
She's
then
like,
she's
I
like,
know what's
wanna
going on.
wanna
Yeah, she's
wear
like,
this? And she like whips out that little
the
like
night
like
court,
her
like, get
Jasmine
up.
outfit.
And she's like, yeah, like, I heard what you said. I heard you were like, get me out of here. Like, I was asking them to take you out here and I lied for you. Like, you're welcome.
And she's also like, my cousin lives in the summer court and she saw
Hmm.
you and it seemed like you were fine.
Right.
So
Like, better
something's
than
going
fine. Like,
on
you're way
here.
healthier. You're like, not, yeah, like,
Yeah.
yeah.
She's like, can you be chill a little
Yeah.
bit?
We also find out like somewhere in here, like Ianthe is like trying to draw attention to herself and like just be a bitch. And like she like suggests that Reese give Tamlin or Tamlin give Reese's family's wings back.
Oh
Because if you
yeah.
remember, like Tamlin's dad like killed Reese's family basically and allegedly has
Yeah.
been like displaying their wings and like as decoration. But
Which is like
Tamlin is
honestly
like,
like apart from the atrocities, like what cool wall decor. Like that's pretty fucking badass.
it's ridiculous. Allison.
Atrocities aside,
It's giving moose head on the wall.
it's
Like,
fucking cool.
I don't know how Whoopi's really hard to mount. I just realized moose are really big. Do you have to have, like special walls to like mount shit like that?
At the very least, you
Anyway,
need drywall anchors.
Tamlin, yeah, it turns out Tamlin like burned them, which like I think is supposed to be like a show of respect. Like it's not like, and he seems like sad. He seems remorseful and like ashamed of that.
Yeah.
So I think there's like a few things in here that can be, I'm sure, will be used to like build a pseudo Tamlin redemption arc somewhere down the
I
line.
mean, he gets it like throughout the next few books. But honestly, all of this would have been avoided if Tamlin had just gone to therapy and people stopped babying men and made them face the consequences and emotions of their own actions. But alas, nobody did. And that's why they're in that shit. Because everybody had an opportunity to be like, Tamlin, Feyre left for good. She was really sad. She exploded.
Oh, right.
She
Yeah.
willingly left.
I know. Like other people
Feyre, I
knew.
met
Yeah.
Feyre in the
Like it's
forest and she was
over.
chill, and
Well,
nobody did.
do you think Lucian?
No, I think Lucian after because Lucian says later, he's like, after that, that's when I went along with Tamlin because I thought you were like really, truly gone.
Like,
But like before
actually.
that, he had plenty of opportunities to be like, Tamlin.
Well, okay. Right. He had opportunities to be like, Farrah's not doing well. You need to help Farrah. Like he's shitty for that. And he kind of apologized. He's like, you were a better friend to me, Farrah, than like I ever was to you, whatever. But do you think Lucian really thought that Farrah wanted to be with I don't think he thought that Farrah wanted to be with Reese. I think he was just like, yeah, Farrah's not doing well. We need to rescue her from Reese, but like we should find another way to do it. Like convince her to come back instead. Like he just was trying to avoid the like hibernate, nonsense, like allying with like them and
Yeah.
having, awful like death bargain. We finally find out what happens if you like break a bargain.
Yeah. But he also didn't make it possible for anyone to tell Tamlin the truth about what happened. Because first of all, Tamlin killed all the guards that were there, we find out,
I know.
when
Which,
Feyre
yeah,
left.
right.
And Lucian did not make it like he didn't make it clear that he was gonna like protect anyone who's like he would ever defend someone who is telling the truth
Mm-mm.
against Tamlin suddenly being angry and freaking out.
Oh, for
You know
sure
what I mean? Like
not.
there was no ability for anyone to be like, Tamlin, she wanted to go. Like she
Right.
literally
Like
was like,
Alice would
let
have
me
been like
go.
immediately cooked if she had like said that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we find that interesting. So we find out that like Lucian went to like the Dawn Court or something to figure out how to break a bargain, like in order to help get Farrah back, like to try to help her. And like apparently it doesn't always like they can come after the person who tries to break them, even if the person who like even if it's not the person who made the bargain, which like if they had stopped Farrah from going back to Reese, which like doesn't make sense. Like wouldn't that mean that like like if anyone tried I don't know, like any treaty ever would be like totally foolproof because no one could
No,
even
because I
try to
think it
break the
has to be like a
treaty.
magical bargain.
No, I know. If you made a bargain, I'm saying. Like, I'm trying to think of like an
I
example.
think most people aren't stupid enough to make magical treaties.
Well, but if you
They
wanted
just
to, I mean, but if you want to make the treaty like foolproof, you would might demand that, like as,
sure.
and then like no one else can even like try to tempt the person away because then the bargain magic might come after them. I don't think that's
Well,
what's
then
meant to happen, but
you
that
can
is like the
find people
implication.
willing to sacrifice themselves to break the bargain.
What do you mean? No, because you don't know who it's going to come after or how it's going to come after you.
Yeah.
What do you mean
I
find
don't
people
know.
willing to sacrifice yourselves? So the
I
bargain
don't
would
know.
still be
Yeah.
intact. Like someone else wouldn't be able to. Yeah,
Yeah.
doesn't make sense.
Yeah. But
Anyway.
Feyre is basically like, what would happen if Tam, like, is there a way out of the bargain with Highburn? And
Hmm.
Lucian is like, no, like there'll be dire consequences. And
Hmm.
Feyre is like, he'll die. And I know that the audiobook narrator probably didn't mean it to sound incredibly hopeful. But like, I don't know, the way it came up was like, he'll die? Is that what happened? Like it sounded so
Exciting.
excited, like, oh my God. And
Yeah.
and he's like, and Lucian's also like, he's like, bargains, they're mysterious and they're dangerous and like they're rare. And it just, I feel like it's the same as like the mates are rare thing, where like now everyone and
Right.
their mother is making a
Farrah's had
bargain.
like six, like
Like
at this
everybody's
point.
making
Yeah.
bargains like willy-nilly. Like
Yeah.
I it seems silly.
Okay. And another reason just to mention that like, it should be really obvious to anyone paying even a smidge of attention that like Jurian is not what he seems, is like, at one point when they're on these like scouting expeditions with the incestuous twins, they come
Yes.
across these three like children of the blessed, which are humans that want to
Yeah.
come live with the fairies. And Farrah, like, first of all, tells them to run away, even though the twins are like, come here, like, I'll eat you.
Across the wall.
And it's really unclear to me. Yeah, are they, why did they need them to step across the wall anyway? Like, they're able to go across and get them later on, like the fairies are.
I think because they know that if they did that, then there would be like, it would be a very obvious, very
Mm.
clear,
Oh, so you're saying the other
like
kind there, where it's like plausible
if
deniability.
yeah, if Lucian and
Mm.
Feyre and the rest of the guards had like fought to stop them, and
Hmm.
because they were trying to cross the wall, that would
Hmm.
be very like a very clear, like, you broke the rules. But like eating the children or whatever the fuck they do.
Oh, I thought it was really open, but I guess that was the point, was to make it. So yeah, they go back then, like they don't go after them then, but they go back like that night and like torture and kill, like bring them back and torture and kill them.
Yeah. And that's when Jurian is talking about Reese. And but his anecdote for like why Reese was a good guy in the war, he was like, he led his legion into a trap to
Yeah.
rescue Miriam from Amarantha, and he got captured in the process, and his whole legion was tortured and
Right.
killed. And I'm like,
Right. Wait, they were all tortured and killed?
yeah, all of them died or were brutally tortured.
Well,
Yes.
were they? Oh my God. Yeah, that's really
And
fucking
I'm
bold,
just like,
Reese.
I feel like, Sarah, this story is not telling what you think it is telling.
Right. Like, no, it's not like he thought he could, like, it was literally a trap. Unclear how it saved her, but
They
whatever.
got her
But
out, I
anyway,
guess.
after Farah, so before they find out that the evil twins ate the children anyway, Jurian like thanks Farah for saving them.
Yeah.
Which is Jurian immortal or not? Like in this new iteration of
I feel like
Jurian.
he is now because he's
Yeah,
cauldron
unclear
made.
how. Okay, and everyone called Jade is like,
I don't know. Oh, but Lucian is also, he looks at he calls the children of the blessed, he calls them children. And Feyre is like, I mean, like they are kids, but like they're only a few years younger than me. And I'm like,
mm,
exactly. You are a child. You are 20 years old. These
right.
people like add up to multiple millennia if you add their ages together.
Not even, you don't
Like,
even have to add them. Like some of them, yeah.
you are
Yeah.
a child, Feyre. Like,
I know.
exactly.
Even compared to, well, or just even compared to like normal humans. Yeah, I know. Wild.
Yeah, like you're still a child.
But yeah, anyway, then Farah and Lucian lure the bogey to the twins as retaliation, which is really funny. It's a cute, I feel like it's not cute, but like it's a little
Yeah.
like moment of like
Well,
them
they
still
do.
being
They have
friends.
they had those occasional moments where Faye was like, like sometimes I remember like Lucian and I were actually really good friends before, he
Mm-hmm.
stabbed me in the fucking back. Another case in point is when they're
Abandoned
having
me.
some weird, stupid sun ceremony, and Ianthe has like positioned, she's like put her
And they're
little
trying to get
marker,
attention. Yeah.
yeah, to like have the sun rise on her or whatever. Like, so it's like she's glowing, and
She's
then
like, wow,
Feyre
I'm
just like,
chosen. Yeah.
yeah, Feyre just
Oh,
moves the
wow.
stone.
Who could have thought? Yeah,
So
to make
then
it shine on
Ferris,
her, which is
so
really
then
silly.
Ferris, she's like, and everyone like bows down, and Ferris and Lucian like bows, but he's also like snickering. He's like, I know it, just
Do
and, like that's fucking great.
you see this cat? Do you see him? Ow. I really need to cut his. Ow. See, and this is what happens when you will never let me learn. You would never let me learn how to cut a cat's nails. No one will ever let me learn. They're always like, that's not a job for you. But then here I am getting eaten alive.
But then Fair is not so good at Fred because she fakes a nightmare, and then she gets Lucian to like comfort her because their rooms are right opposite from each other.
Mm,
And then like Feyre like or Tamlin walks up and like sees them
hmm.
together, and she's like, hey, hey, hey. And
Yeah.
she cries fake tears, and she's like, I used the magic salt water from the summer court to fake my tears.
Yeah, no, that is really funny.
But after that, the silly moment of jealousy, the evil incest twin girl is like, I'd pick Lucian too. Autumn court men have fire in their blood and they fuck like it too. And Farah has this, like, she like
It's
cringes. She's like,
so
oh,
weird.
like, I can't imagine Elaine having to face that. And I'm like, Farah, do you know what a metaphor is? Like, I know you just learned to read, but like, I
Right.
just, like, he's obviously not going to be shooting fire out of his dick or something. Like, what are you is that what you think?
No, I have no idea what she thinks. Yeah, just that it's like too rough for like poor little Elaine, like
Like,
unclear.
do
Yeah.
you think Elaine has like? Do you think the only like safe sex position for her is just like standard missionary, like for the rest of her immortal life? Like,
I have no
Farah.
idea what this is supposed to. Yeah, I don't know. I
Like,
really just
I
don't.
don't like
Well, yeah,
Elaine, but
yeah.
I not even I would want that for her.
So then like finally the like final like her final like piece of the puzzle of like making Tamlin look bad. Actually, there's a few things, but she's basically like setting up Tamlin to look like an awful leader so that his people will turn on him. She like goads him into like exploding on her again, but this time she doesn't shield herself, so she gets like a bunch of
Yeah.
bruises, and everyone's like, "Oh my God, what you did to Vera?"
And then the next day, I just want to point out, she's like, wow, my cuts like aren't still not fully healed to my surprise. And I'm like, maybe that was something that you should have be looking into
Right?
there.
Yeah.
You have magical
Right.
healing powers. Like you literally have magical, you're not just a regular high fae, you have literal magical healing powers. Like
I
what?
know, it's so bold. Yeah, maybe she's like, oh my like well, she's like, oh, maybe my like suppression talents just worked a little too hard. Like I'm just too good at what I do. I don't know my own strength or the opposite or whatever. So then like the final thing she does is basically she doesn't set up the framing, which is good, but like Ianthe is planning to frame a guard. Oh, is it the bogey again? It's something, it's
No,
some
it's
other,
like the
yeah, it's
Naga,
something mean.
I think.
Ianthe is planning to set up a guard to make it seem like he let some monster fairies get the keys to the castle and like come in, and then Ianthe comes in and like saves everyone. But Feyre like somehow finds out about that and like makes the guard is about to be whipped and he's like fine with it. He's like, I have sinned. I must, be punished.
I fall
But
short.
Feyre makes him remember all of a sudden that like actually it's his Ianthe's doing. And then the guard's like, I didn't do it. I didn't do it. Like, I don't want my honor to be besmirched or whatever. And all his fellow guards are like, yeah, let him talk. Like, they're clearly thinking that. But Tamlin sides with Ianthe. And that's like her final way of undermining Tamlin in the eyes of his guards because they're
Yeah.
like, fuck you. Like, you're going to take the side of this like awful hoe who got us into this horrible world war. Like, even though you
Yeah.
know that like it's probably true. Like,
Yeah.
your guard would never like we've been loyal. We were like going right. Like these are the same guards that were going over the wall as wolves with the hope of being shot,
Yeah.
so that Tamlin could get a human to like break the
Girlfriend.
Amarantha curse, the human girl. Right. Like yeah.
Yeah. Whatever. Now they're on another little camping trip to the wall.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Woohoo. But Tamlin's going this time. That does not
Mm-hmm.
really matter, other than the fact that Feyre steals his knives, which is just petty.
Right. And Farrah's like, she's been making excuses to not sleep with him this whole time, which like respect. And she's like, I'd just rather stay with Ianthe. Like, girl, let's have some girl time because Ianthe's coming too.
Yeah.
And then she wakes Ianthe up in the morning like with like cleaning her knife over her or something. Like really fucking that's like yeah, like villain level like threatening shit. And she's like, you know, you can never have your weapons be too clean or like something like that, you know?
You always got to keep them close. Like,
Yeah. So then everyone's like
yeah.
off doing their like morning tasks, whatever, unclear. Like, and Feyre decides like it's time to peace out. But first she runs into like Anthe has Lucian cornered. And I don't like this whole angle of like Anthe being like the big bad like predator of this world. Like, I don't know, it just seems a little, I don't know. It just seems like the same as like the stepmother always being the evil one in stories when really it's like the stepfathers that are way worse to kill. You know what I mean? Like it's to say it's like let's have like well you don't expect like the woman being the one who's like doing this like stereotypically like male violent crime. Anyway, whatever. But Anthe is like what we can just whatever. Anthe is like known for doing that. Like she takes advantage of
She
poor
tried to
innocent
do it to
men.
Reese.
She takes their virtue. She couldn't have done it to Reese. Like that's what just doesn't make sense. Like Reese is very capable of being like, no, like what? She just is trying to sleep with powerful men. Like that is not a crime. Like what it's implied she's doing Lucian because she's more powerful than Lucian. So she does like yeah that.
Well, she has like the little
like,
magic stones, the magic like blue stones that like can capture the fae. Well, I don't think it's just that she's trying to sleep with powerful men. I think it's that she like pushes like she's like even when they're like, no, I don't really want to, like she's not Anthe is not a girl waiting for enthusiastic consent.
But like if she has no way, I guess you're right. Like with Lucian, she does it, but just like with Reese, I'm like, there's never a world where like you were gonna be able to force Reese to do anything, like literally.
No, but she does try. She does
do.
like throw her, like she walks into his room, fully strips, and like goes immediately for his dick. You know what I mean? Like I feel like that is a kind of assault.
It's not cool. I don't know. I just like yeah, it's not cool, but it's not. I can see why you wouldn't want to hang out with that person.
It is interesting because we never really get that from a male character. Like we get like we get like references to like this army like
rape and stuff and like the librarians and stuff. Right. I just it's like it's always interesting when they decide to do shit like I don't know. Like what's like the classic example? It's like I don't know. Like anyway, the serial killer.
Not that I want more characters who are like making me read that on screen. We don't
really need more shitty men either, but like it's just like always silly. I don't know. It just feels like there's almost more of a I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, with Lucian, she is able to take his magic, which is bold because they're all being drugged. So how does like she has more magic than Lucian, I guess, but like why would she have more magic? She doesn't really. It's not just
that she's taking his magic. She like chains him to the tree in handcuffs that he can't escape from. Those like blue magic handcuffs.
Oh, she got those somehow.
That like were used to trap Reese. So it's not just the magic, it's the fact that like he literally can't get away.
And and Feyre's like, don't get distracted. Come on. Like he screwed you. And then finally she's like, fuck. Like, and she goes back and like captures Ianthe's mind, forces her to like pound a rock into her hands,
which is iconic. So gross.
And she's like, and you're gonna remember, like, I'll let you get this healed, but like you can't get rid of the scars, and you're gonna have a vague feeling for the rest of your life that you got this because you were like touching people without their consent, and you're gonna never do that again.
Yeah. and you're gonna tell people you fell.
Right. Like
just on my hand over and over and over.
Right. Like mid this debacle, the twins walk in and they're like, oh, how nice. Like, where you going, Feyre? Why aren't we invited? Because they've been onto her this whole fucking time. And they're like, yeah, we could, obviously.
We're not stupid.
We're not. Everyone else here is stupid. And that's why we're taking advantage of them. But like, yeah, that's really bold of you. And basically Lucian and Feyre together, like, well, no. Feyre, Lucian's still tied up. Feyre like single-handedly kills them even without magic because they're like we've been secretly poisoning you with Faebane that like weakens your magic and apparently takes like a really fucking long time to wear off.
Well, they've been like micro dosing them, so it's like building up. It's like arsenic
stays in your system forever. Arsenic's like that.
I don't know if arsenic stays in your system forever. Like arsenic, I think arsenic may like never ever leave your system, but like that's how like in old timey times. How you poison your like dickish husband is you put small amounts of like arsenic in his meal every day. And then it builds up in his system. And then he dies of arsenic poisoning.
Yikes. I didn't know that.
Like, doesn't work today because they have like things like blood tests.
Tell that you did that. Well, it could have been from the fish though, right?
Old-timey time. No, that's Mercury.
Oh.
Old-timey time is perfectly possible. Like, you're wondering why your grandmother's divorced? It's because they killed their husbands instead.
Oh my
That's
God.
why. Yeah. But yeah, so they defeat them really easily,
Yeah,
considering they're supposed to be like
right.
Hybern's generals.
Yeah, and have like all this experience and like be the best warriors. Like, yeah.
But Feyre's like, I was trained by Cassian for 2 whole months.
Right. Like, I don't know. I guess, yeah, and she has a lot of power, but she's like not able to use any of it,
Maybe
which is like
it's
kind of
like
a common theme for her. What?
maybe the same way, the same way like Bella, like her superpower at first she thinks is just like super self, like she's just really good at being a vampire.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe Feyre's real power is she's just really good at being a Feyre. Like she's really good at
And
like
so like
learning
Mary Sue.
Feyre
Yeah,
things.
learning. You're right. So it's not like, yeah, I don't know.
I don't know.
Anyway, after like reading fairy things, like
Yes.
reading. So she lets Lucian like come with her, even though she doesn't like. And Lucian's coming because of Elaine. Like that's the reason. Otherwise, he would have
Yeah.
like probably
That's the
stayed in
only
the
reason he hasn't
Royal.
narked on her. Like
Right.
at
Because
this
he's
point.
like, I'll lose any chance of like ever seeing Elaine, which like is good. Yeah. On the one hand, it like sucks that Lucian. Yeah, Lucian has no excuse for like not at all standing up for Feyre. It would be kind of shitty of him to just like totally dip on Tamlin otherwise, but like I guess the like mate
It
thing is
also just
like
wouldn't make sense in terms of him ditching Tanlin to go to the night court.
mhm.
Like that, like,
Right, like from what he knows right now, which is
yeah,
like he still
the
thinks it's
night
like
court's
shitty.
evil.
Yeah, and I guess he just thinks that is like also become evil, or he's like he makes some like quip when he's like, well, yeah, I can see like obviously he's like Valaris is like not just great, but like I can see why you would have been bored
With our
at
tiny little, like,
with our
provincial
tiny
man.
home, our like our home would have been boring and quiet, which like
Our
so
manor
pet,
house.
such a like passive, yeah. Well, he says our home would have
Yeah.
seemed, I don't know, it's kind of yeah. Anyway, tears at the
Yeah. But
heartstrings.
Lucian's also super metal. He's like, I want to see Elaine to know if she's worth fighting for. Like, I want to see her just once. And I
Mm,
guess he
yeah.
does decide that, I guess, eventually.
Right.
Which whatever, but okay.
Kind of. He like gives up by the end of this book, right? Or like at
He's
least
like
backs
still kind
off.
of try it. Yeah. I don't
Mm,
know. I don't
yeah,
know.
it's just
But
really bold of
they're
Elaine.
bopping off. Lucian catches fish with his bare hands, which is
Right,
really
which
hot.
is really
Excellent.
wild. Yeah.
Well, because Lucian has adventure experience. Because he's like, I had to live in these woods. I was like on the run from me dad.
Right. And I would have thought like this is like 5 days later, and like I would have thought that Fabian would be out of his system. And also she's like once again eating apples almost immediately. Like you think she'd be off apples for a while. Because that's what they were putting it in her. They like grew these special apples at Highburn with Fabian in like the water that they were feeding the trees, which is like really listen, it's a long game.
That listen, Hybern is not if nothing else. He plays
Nothing
the
is
long game.
technologically advanced. Okay, yeah. Oh yeah, that's what I was gonna say is like, yeah, like could the Night Court even like they're debating whether later on they're debating whether they should like take the Spring Court themselves. But like could they even do that? Because that would like go the bargain is like that Highburn can have the Spring Court can like use it. So you know what I mean? Like how would that worth the bargain if they like stood at the border and were like, you shall not pass.
No, because the bargain is that
They'll cooperate.
Tamlin will allow Hybern to do it. And if Tamlin's still willing, but just isn't able to, that's not him not
Hmm.
fulfilling. Because, like, with the Feyre
Is it
thing, with
though?
her,
Will
with them
allow.
actively, if Feyre is like, I am going to Reese, I want to go to Reese, and these people are actively stopping her, like,
No, because Farrah couldn't have. I don't think Farrah could have not gone either at first.
yeah, I know. Like, she had to go.
Hmm. But if they had stopped her, that would have,
Yes.
regardless of whether she wanted to go, that doesn't matter whether she wanted to go. If they
Yes.
had stopped her,
Well, it may have killed her. It may have killed that. Like, you don't know.
but like if Farrah had wanted to go and they had stopped her, that would have still broken the bargain, right? So if Tamlin had wanted to let Hybern in and they had stopped him, that like in theory would have broken the bargain. Like from the way they're explaining it, which like yeah, that can't be right. Like that doesn't make sense. But like that is she
I
does go out of
know.
her way to be like no one can interfere with the bargain. Like, but no one really understands bargains either, which is really bold and silly
Which
that
is
they're like
convenient. It's just very convenient.
It's a very like lost magic system.
Yeah.
Anyway,
But then
they're like off on their wilderness adventure. It seems very cold, uncomfy. But yeah, oh no, they're in the autumn court, which is nice and autumny. Reminds me of the blanket I'm crocheting.
I've caught up.
Lucian's brothers. Yeah. And we get a little bit of Lucian lore, like how apparently because there's like farms around, and Feyre's like, I think at one point like, oh, could we go ask for help from the farm people? Like you might know them, right? And he's like, no, they all hate me ever since I got there, like friend killed. And his like girl that he was in love with that his dad killed, which is like his origin of like leaving. Anyway, they escape his brothers at first. And then Feyre is like telling him about Elaine.
She's like, even when we were destitute, she managed to tend a garden. I'm like
of
that
flowers. Of
what
flowers.
What does that actually tell you?
Right. And she like still really wants to marry someone whose dad is like who like wants to marry her, at least in part, because his dad wants to use her dowry for fairy hunting.
To kill the one family member that kept her alive.
Right. Like it's just so and Lucian's like, well, I want to see if she's worth fighting for. Like, I'm sorry.
No,
this tells you
the answer is no.
This is not right. Anyway.
So now they're finally at the Wintercourt border, and Feyre and Lucian think they're safe. They're like, they've got away from the bros. They're like, good. I would like to just point
giant ice lake to cross.
Yes, I would like to point out that the Wintercourt gets around by reindeer sleighs and has guard polar bears, and that is really iconic. Silly. Why don't we get more of that? Why? I don't remember whether this happened, but in the war at the end, if the Wintercourt High Lord doesn't come riding in on like a sleigh driven by polar bears, a la like the White Witch of Narnia, I am gonna be upset.
What side is he on?
He's on the good side. All the High Lords, spoiler, eventually
okay.
band together.
I couldn't remember. But I was listening to your episode with the Santas or whatever.
Yeah.
And aren't the polar bears in the Golden Compass the bad guys? They're not good.
I thought the polar bear was the good guy.
Oh, okay. I don't know. I thought there was
I don't know. I've never seen the Golden Compass.
Maybe there's or read the book. Maybe there's a good polar bear, but I think in general they're evil. I don't know. I could be wrong. Anyway, whatever. They're like, okay, time to cross this giant frozen ice lake on foot. This miles wide. Nothing can be done if the ice breaks. We still have no magic. Just like, yeah, the Faebane. So, but it does obviously go away eventually. So I don't. It just seems like really, really long that it stays in their system. Like they're like really out here for weeks. And just to be clear, like this whole time, her bond. Another thing that happens when the twins confront her and the like Faebane fully sinks in is that her bond with Rhys goes totally dead and quiet. And so she just blips off the map for him for like 2 weeks, and he like doesn't really do anything about it or really seem that concerned. He's like more concerned than he already was. Like she's already minimizing her like use of the bond before that for some reason. I don't know why. She's like, it'll make it like, I don't know, I guess other people could sense it and like realize.
Yeah.
Unclear. But like, yeah, he doesn't really seem concerned that she goes totally dark.
It's not like 2 weeks. Dark. It's like less than a week.
I don't know, because they're out there for like 5 days by the time Lucian's catching fish. And then after that, I wrote that down.
Huh.
It's like 5 days. What do you think? Maybe it's 5 days until, like, I don't know. And then like they still have to like trek over the mountains and like camp in like the weird hunting cabin shit. The Lucian, like, I don't know.
Yeah.
But anyway, so like they take 2 steps on this frozen ice lake, and like the opposite of what you'd expect happen. They don't drown in the icy cold. Lucian's brothers show up again and start throwing fire at them, which I guess will eventually lead you to the icy cold, right? But the fact that it's like fire. And Feyre gets like just enough of her magic back to like fight them off, basically. But then like
they're in a tricky spot. They're about to be overwhelmed.
Yeah, they like absolutely about to be overwhelmed. But that's when Cassian and Azriel show up and are like,
and they make like superhero entrances. Like,
yeah,
a boom, like heavy boots thudded onto the ice. I looked up to see the winged form of an Illyrian warrior.
Yeah, like, dun, dun, dun. Like imagine them like stamping down their wings.
Yes.
And basically the brothers, these like Cassian and Azriel are known by reputation, if not likeness, and they're immediately like, oh fuck, like we will die if we keep fighting. And
they almost do. They all have like their guts stabbed out. And Feyre is like, stop, don't kill them. And Asriel and Cassian stop. And then she's like, guess what, fuckers? I'm the High Lady of the Night Court. And then Eris is like, there's no such thing as a High Lady. And she like swipes off her sleeves and like shows her little tattoos and
Which,
is
like,
like,
is supposed to
there
prove
is
something.
now.
Yeah.
Well, I guess the fact that Azriel and Cassian like listened to her proves that she has some sort of authority.
Yeah, unclear what High Lady even means though. Still, I'm still not totally clear.
Unclear. It's really.
Is that they just like, yeah, it's just like Cassian has his weird like speech later on where he's like, you know, like I didn't know my honor. Yeah, like I need to
honor.
Yeah, yeah, like unclear. Yeah, there's a lot of like random honor. Yeah, I imagine honestly, Sarah J. Maas. You know that I don't know why this just came to me now. Actually, I saw it. You know that the suburban tunneling lady.
Yeah.
Something about her, like I could imagine her like talking her like my honors. You know how she like is allegedly getting shut down, but apparently I saw today she gave an update and she was like, I think I can get the permits. Like I'm tunneling totally underneath the slab of my house, and like somehow that means I can get the permits. Anyway, somehow I can imagine Sarah J. Maas like talking with her cadence and like looking, you know what I mean? Like just being like,
I don't know. I don't really know her cadence. I've only seen her videos like occasionally. Yeah. But then they all fly away. They don't have their magic back to Winnow. So like Cassie and Azrael carrying them. And all I can like, okay, so like it's very frequent in these books when like the winged people have to carry the non-winged people to like fly long distances. And
also for winnowing
usually
too.
Like I don't really necessarily have a firm picture of how they're being carried, like unless we're explicitly told, but it's usually not for whatever reason like baby style,
like toddler style. Yeah.
Right. But Lucian is specific, like Lucian is always baby style. Whenever Azriel carries him, he's always, I think it's because I saw this like
cat
cartoon
style
fan art that was just like Lucian like angry and like Azriel's arms.
We like we get that on, is that on page or is that just like people like
I think
headcanons?
I think it's just like well, Azriel carries Lucian here, and it's awkward. Like Feyre like looks over and she's like, "Oh, they're like silent and awkward." Like we don't necessarily get how they're being carried, but like I just specifically when Lucian is being carried, it's always like a baby.
It's really silly, yeah. So they come to the townhouse, and this is when I personally found out that Moore is blonde. Like I don't know why that was not.
You didn't know?
Yeah, now I'm picturing her as like
she's like Rosalie. And Amber is Alice.
Oh, I'm picturing, that's a great point actually.
And Azriel
You're
is
right.
Jasper.
We talked about that. But I'm picturing her as what's her face from It's a Wonderful Life? The Violet is her name.
Oh, the
Violet.
block.
Oh, this whole thing. Nice dress. Oh, this whole thing. I only wear this when I don't care how I look. Yeah.
Fluffs the hair.
Yeah, exactly. Like, but like short, like small. Yeah, like also short. Rosalie's tall,
I don't think
right?
I think she's supposed to. I think
she. Okay, I don't know.
Moore's not supposed to be short. That's Amber.
As soon as
Amber's small.
Yeah, I didn't know that. But as soon as, for some reason,
they pop
I
into
was
the
picturing
townhouse.
her as like normal height and like brown hair or something. But as soon as they said blonde, for some reason, just like Violet, I was like, she's like small and has fluffy blonde hair. Like,
yeah,
I don't know. They pop into the townhouse, and Farrah's like, Moore's looking at Lucian. I don't know what, I forget what they say. They're like, hello, Lucian. Like, there's all very hustle. I almost pity Lucian as she beheld him, the weight of the Morgan, whose gift was pure truth. Like, what does that? Are we to assume by this point that she can just always tell when people are lying? Like, is that? I just feel like there's a lot that can't be true, right? Because like the Human Queens last book.
Last season.
Like they totally lie to them and like screw them over, right? Like betrayal, full betrayal, full throttle betrayal. And Moore was there for that the whole time.
You wrote that down too.
The Morgan. Do you think that her given name, like on her birth certificate, they have fair birth certificates, is the because that is like her first name.
Morgan, the it's like John the Fourth or
do you
something.
Think it's a title, right? Do you think it's a title? Yeah, that she like adopted later. She like was I
don't know. She was like, oh, this works. I don't know. The stare of the Morgan. Who's but then Vera's like, oh, what's gonna happen with Lucian? And then she's like, oh, I outrank them, my friends. And I'm like, yeah, sure you do. Sure. This definitely changed the dynamic. Absolutely. 100%. And also, okay. So about the so we know that when the High Lord dies, his powers get passed on to his heir, right? And it's not always
Mhm.
the like next in line. Like sometimes like it was Tam Tam and like it wasn't his older brothers,
I thought
right?
because they died.
But they always knew it would be him. Like it's said at one point, someone says it, Rhysand or Lucian is like his brothers didn't like him because he was always like more
But they didn't
powerful than
but they
them. So
didn't try
like
to but they didn't try to kill him the way
I
that like
don't know. I
Lucian's
guess
brothers.
that's not an odd like
Because
an autumn
Lucian's
court.
also really powerful. It's like kind of implied that he was like, yeah, he's time doing high. Maybe only in the autumn court did they like kill each other.
Yeah, I don't know.
You know what's ridiculous? That's from Stardust. It's from that movie Stardust. Do you remember that?
What?
One of the side
Oh
plots is
yeah.
is with a king with like seven sons who all have to, yeah, only the winner gets to be king.
Yeah. I don't
That's not
think
like a
that's
custom
from
thing. It's like a
Stardust.
crazy, yeah, yeah, you're right. But it's like a, yeah, it's like a, I don't know, like vague
It's like a
lore
thing. I
shit.
feel like that's a thing. That was definitely a thing in history of,
That's why they had to make rules. Like if you kill the person, you don't get to inherit from the like.
but I bring this up. So I brought up the High Lady thing. Okay. Because the High Lord power transfers from like, let's just say father to son, right? It transfers to the next one. It bops over. And there seems to be some sort of like familial. It's not
For
just like some
sure.
rando that gets it.
Right. Like not the most powerful person in the whole kingdom. Yeah.
So my question, and at one point Lucian, and I wrote this down, he says like High Lords are a different species or something,
Different breed. Yeah.
a different breed, which gets me thinking like, are High Lords actually like, is there actually something? Because the fact that like both Tammin and Lucian, like their brothers could tell there's like a tangible difference between like them. You know what I mean? Like
Mm-hmm.
in
Mm-hmm.
terms of them being the heirs, that implies that there's something different about them even before they inherit the High Lord title. So are High Lords a different species? And in that case, if the magic is just like picking whoever's like the best, is it possible that they're first of all, how does Feyre become High Lady? Like she's if she's not like born to it, like how does that fucking work?
It's not
But more
real. That's
importantly,
how.
my real question is, have there been like has the power transferred to a daughter?
Right. And like, what do they do
And
in
we
that
just like
situation?
they just get like killed, like they just like wipe them. They're like, no, like they just like
Probably.
eliminate them
I bet.
before that
Yeah.
happens.
Probably. Like, actually, yeah, that tracks. Yeah.
Okay. Because I was like, it just doesn't make sense that it would always be to the boy if it doesn't
No, it
care about
doesn't.
like birth
It doesn't.
order or
Right.
anything
It
like
doesn't make
that.
because it's right. It's not just like right unless it's like some spell long ago that like was made by the fairies and they put that in there.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's because the High Lady thing is that's what I'm saying. It doesn't. It's fake. Like it doesn't. I don't know. Like what is it? I don't know what it actually means because it doesn't really mean anything.
Yeah. Volusion's like, there's children laughing in the streets. I've never heard such a thing, mostly because we don't allow the commoners so close to our manor.
Yeah, like the spring court doesn't have streets. I guess
Yeah.
I guess
What do
there's
you
probably a
mean? You're
village.
agrarian.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
Yeah, like it's giving Lucian's just like never been to a city.
Well, I'm wondering, is
He
there a
has though,
capital
like the
of the
Dawn
spring
Court.
court and we just never, because it seems like every other court has a
Does
capital.
the Autumn Court have a capital?
Yeah,
Where?
I don't know. It just like do we just never get to see the spring court capital?
Probably. But wait, how do we know there's an Autumn Court capital?
I don't know. Maybe I'm just projecting.
Because we would
Yeah,
just
maybe
walk through
Lucian's
the
just never
whole.
seen a city.
It's possible he like kept her to the fields on purpose, but
Yeah, yeah.
I'm not sure.
So then Lucian and I mean Reese and Feyre reunite.
Yeah, and brings me back to the bond has been like dark for weeks, and Reese decided not to be at all worried and was just like fruitlessly circling Highburn, like finding out nothing instead of like trying to figure out if Feyre was in trouble. But anyway,
Yeah,
what?
I do love this scene from like a romance reuniting perspective. However, the thing that I could this reread that I could not stop focusing on, like from an autistic perspective, not from a romance reader perspective, it's the fact that we explicitly get that the only part of Reese's standards outfit are a jacket and pants. And now I'm wondering whether this man is walking around in a suit jacket without a shirt, like he's in like
Mm,
2006 or something.
mm,
Like
maybe it's like a
I
zip, maybe it's a hoodie, a
like
zip up, or like a zip up
maybe, but
Lululemon jacket, a line.
it's always like his crisp jacket and pants. Like, mm,
Wait, how do we know? Well, his shirt's just dirty. And she's like, that's okay.
No.
Don't focus on the
That's
flaws.
okay.
Focus on the positive. He owns pants.
Yeah. Yeah. But we get the down low on the friends. Obviously, Cassian's wings are healed. Woohoo. And they're almost entirely reconstructed. And we can talk about how it's silly that they can do that, but they can't do all these other healing
Right.
things.
Right.
But also, this opened up a possibility. Like I know that they basically just look like his normal wings. Like he just basically got his wings back, except they just don't have scars on them anymore. But I'm like, I just feel like it would be really cool if we got like a How to Train Your Dragon kind of situation in which he has like a cool like kind of kaleidoscope of like different leathers and materials that have been like patched together to like make his wings, a la Toothless and How to Train Your Dragon.
Like the muscles are still there or whatever.
I feel like we
Right.
could have had like a really cool like disability kind of thing. I mean, not in Sarah's skill set, but like missed opportunity. I feel like that could have been like really fucking cool for like
That's true.
Cassian to have this like
a prosthetic.
yeah, or something.
Right. So yeah, so then they reunite. They're like they go they have like a nice cute, yeah.
He licks her tears, very Edward Cullen coded. At least Feyre, however, remembers to ask whether her sisters are okay, unlike Bella, who has to be reminded that she has a daughter. So, you know.
Yeah, but the daughter's not in danger, I guess. But yeah, I know. This is when we find out that magical cleaning doesn't actually clean. Like it's just aesthetic, basically. I don't know if it's just aesthetic. Like it seems
It
like
keeps
the
the
dirt
essence.
does right. So you still feel dirty, even though there's no actual dirt.
Yeah.
Which like why? I don't know why. Just like make sure maybe it's not like antiseptic. And they're like, we just want to make sure that you're actually like I don't know.
Well, okay, so but this is what I'm wondering. This is what I'm wondering. Reese also magics away his clothes right before they bang
Yeah,
to get
he, like-
naked. I'm
yeah.
saying, so I'm like, are his clothes just there but invisible the whole
That's
time?
what I said. I said, you're mine. And his clothes literally vanished. First of all, what imagery? But secondly, like, is the essence of the clothes remains. But I guess that's why, right? Like, I guess just like it, maybe actually that could be kind of cool. Now that like it's actually like whatever an essence is and not the actual clothes. Does that mean like imagine you're wearing like a parka and it's really cold out? Could you vanish the parka so like you're not really feeling it and you don't have to like you don't have to ruin your like look? Like imagine like this has been really useful in the 2000s, you know, or for like every middle school boy ever, but you're still walking around feeling the essence of the parka, which is warmth to your body, the layers, the essence of the layers. Man, Skims would have a field day.
Wow. You're onto something here.
Weightless
Someone called the
layers.
fairy fashion industry.
Right. Truly weightless layers. Anyway, back to the book.
Anyway, they go to visit the sisters. And once again, I was giggling because Lucian's being carried like a baby. And then they stop on top of the House of Wind, which I always thought was just a big tower. I was always, for the longest time, I was
Really?
picturing it as like a giant rook. Like a
Interesting.
what is it? What's
yeah, rook.
What is the other name? Yeah,
American
castle.
Is castle. Yeah.
In the in chess. Like I was picturing, but like a really like fat version of that.
Why?
I think specifically because of the stairs, because the 10,000 steps are constantly described as like going around in a circle.
I thought that was just like down into the mountain, like not actually part of the house.
I
get what you're
guess.
saying. I pictured it as like what you would think a House of Wind would be, like a really cool, like airy mansion.
Well, I thought it was
on
a
rock.
really fucking tall, fat rook. Like, I didn't realize it was carved into the mountain, which it is. It's carved into the mountain, which are flat-topped mountains, which I also didn't remember that they're flat-topped, that they're like plateaus or whatever. Mesas, is that what they're called?
Oh, they're all flat topped? Yeah, mesa.
No, just
yeah.
the one by Valaris. The big one by Valaris is flat-topped, which makes sense because that's also what the one on the Isle of Skye is like.
Oh, okay. Is Mount Fuji flat topped?
No, Mount Fuji is very
But it's
triangular.
very fat. But it's very fat.
It is very fat. It's also, I'm pretty sure, a volcano and an active volcano.
I'm picturing like Mount Vesuvius or something. Yeah, there's something. Yeah.
I think it's an active volcano. Anyway, they're going to visit the sisters. Cassie and Ezra are sunning their wings. I just want to say, like, they really are. They are lizards. They are lizards. Bats, they're just giant lizards. Like, they're probably like cold-blooded lizards? Too. Yeah, they're just dragons.
A warm-blooded Illyrian male. Real figure of speech.
So first I see Nesta. Nesta is an icon. She's just mean to everybody. And she's like, I hate everyone. I don't like being a fairy. Everything sucks.
Except Elaine, which is so annoying.
I just
can't. But yeah, Elaine was much more annoying this time around because I guess we've already gotten Nesta's book.
Another defense of Nesta is that
She's reading romance.
well, yes, also she's a big romance girly. No. Another defense, this is a more serious one, is that last book Feyre has this whole, and I may have brought this up in those episodes, but I don't know. Feyre is like, I know that if I had stayed in the spring court and not been given therapy and like been able to fester, I would have turned evil. Right. I would have become like evil and twisted and unrecognizable. And I'm just saying, like, she's like, because yeah, she's like, I know that I would have eventually gotten to a point where I don't think she's like, she says evil, but like, I would have been mean and cruel and like doing that.
Like
she explicitly is like, if my trauma had not been addressed. And I'm like, why is no one wondering how Nesta's trauma has never been addressed? And maybe that's what happened.
Maybe, yeah. I guess it's kind of more like, I don't know. Yeah, it's like a fine line. It's kind of like, I always think of like Katniss's mom in the Hunger Games and how she's like Katniss has to like basically raise Prim and like take care of the family because her mom is like so depressed after the dad dies that she just like stops. She's like literally so depressed that she just like stops living really and like taking care of her kids. And like, we're not really supposed to feel bad for, like, we're supposed to be like, what the fuck? Like, you were supposed to take your kids. And I feel like, I don't know. You're right. It's not fair to say that to Nesta, except that like, she's so shitty to like her younger sister. If Nesta had been the younger sister, I think I would be so much more forgiving this whole time.
Yeah.
Or if they had all like somehow been like, I don't know, like adults when like,
I just think they're
went
all
down.
unaware of the fact that Nesta's trauma started before they lost all their money. Like her mom was like fucking her up like from birth. We get more of that in Nesta's book, but like they're like I don't think Feyre was aware of that.
Yeah.
Like Nesta's trauma was like already there, and then it got like exacerbated by the fact that the mom is dead and now the dad can't even,
Right. What is the mom? I don't really remember a lot of that, but I believe you. Yeah, I like
I know the mom kind of sucks because she told Feyre to take care of the family instead of literally anyone else. So like we already knew the mom sucks.
They all hear that. Like, how do they know? How do they not know that? How does Feyre know that like the mom didn't ask everyone else too, though? Like
she's like, one of y'all is gonna have to step up.
Or she's like, yeah, you all need to feel this responsibility, and like it'll be a lot easier for like Nesta to get her job, or like Elaine, who's the actual oldest? It's Nesta, right?
Nesta, yeah.
For Nesta to like get her, or the dad to get his job done, if you guys are all on board of like on the same page.
That's another example of why Elaine sucks so much. That even I, a middle child, am not on her side, and I'm usually always on the middle child side. Like I just default to the middle child, and that's how much I hate Elaine.
Yeah, I was just like, forget. Honestly, I'd believe you if you told me Elaine was actually the oldest. And just like,
but so Nessa's basically just like fuck off, and Feyre's like, okay, nice seeing you, bye. And then they go to Elaine, and Elaine has brown eyes, and she looks at Elaine eyes, and I know this is just supposed to be like oh my god, like her eyes look dead, like she looks haunted, like she's sad, depressed, like all of that. But she compares her eyes to grave dirt, which is the meanest thing I've ever.
Oh, what?
To grave dirt, Rachel. Grave dirt.
Oh, because they're brown. What color eyes does Feyre have?
She has brown eyes, and she's like, normally they're very beautiful. Like, what Feyre has blue eyes. She's not doing it because she has brown eyes. She's doing this because she has brown eyes, and they're currently lifeless. But like, if someone, I would have just thrown my eyes off myself off the House of Wind.
She didn't say it. Elaine can't read minds. Well, that's funny because you're right. I guess dirt is brown, and when the phrase grave dirt makes me think of like gray. I guess because it sounds yeah. I don't know, or like gravestones, but
just grave dirt,
stone, granite. Yeah, that's really bold. But yeah, I just fucking can't with Elaine. Like Farrah's like blaming herself also. Like Elaine just keeps being like, I want to go home. I want to go home. And like, I'm sorry, Feyre needs a reality. Like there wouldn't be a home to go back to if it wasn't for Feyre, first of all. It's like, fuck off.
You're welcome. Like even the reason they got their money back was because of Tamlin. Like you only met your boyfriend.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. No, exactly. Like, right. They all would have died. Yeah, right. And like, yeah, Feyre goes on this little like soliloquy where she's like, I had always considered it a different kind of strength, a better kind of strength, to look at the hardness of the world and choose over and over to love and to be like kind. But like Elaine, like talking about Elaine, but Elaine,
and I agree with that. I would like, people are always like, you don't like Elaine because you don't value. I'm like, no, I agree.
No, I agree. But Elaine has we never once been given an example of Elaine choosing to be loving and kind. Like, are we just supposed to feel bad for her that she can't marry her like racist fairy
And that
killing
she's the
boyfriend?
prettiest. Like, oh no, she likes to plant flowers and she's the prettiest. That must
And
mean
she likes
she's an
instead of growing
angel.
food and like doesn't do anything. Yeah, right. Like we don't have a single example of her like even like mending conflict in her family. Like she doesn't even like bring them together and be like, Nesta, how about you like stop being a bitch to our
Yeah.
baby sister and like pull it
Like she
together.
makes like half-hearted attempted comments, but like she doesn't
The
actually
comments will be
grow a
like, don't
fucking
fight.
backbone.
Like
Yeah, she's like,
don't
no,
fight.
Nesta, don't be
It's giving like
mean.
Kourtney Kardashian. Yeah, like
Yeah.
oh,
It's
yeah.
so, yeah. No, she's
Yeah.
so, and that's another reason why I really don't want Elaine and Azriel to end up together, which I definitely don't think they will. I don't think she'll necessarily be with Lucian, but like I don't think Elaine and Azriel will
Really?
end up together.
You think she's gonna go against the mate thing?
Yes, I think she's getting so much. She's gotten so much flack for like you get a mate, you get a mate, everybody gets a mate.
Yeah, but now that she's given them a mate, like that was the like I feel like you can't have them
She's like
not.
established that like you can reject me. Like I just anyway, I don't think she's gonna do Azriel regardless. I don't want her to end up with anyone. That's my main beef. I want Elaine to have character development, but I want her to have a whole book and then I want her to be like the single fun aunt for the rest of her life. Like I don't
Maybe she will be. Yeah, I never thought it would be as. It's gonna be fucking Lucian if any. Like, there's just no unless she comes up with a way. Unless she kills off Lucian or something. There's no way.
yeah.
Like, I don't know.
Well, Lucian, there's that whole theory that I think we get exposed to in this book is that Lucian's actually the bastard child of the sun guy, and that's why he's so powerful because he's actually the heir to the summer court or whatever.
Wait, what? Why does he have red hair?
Because his mom has red hair.
Hmm.
And he's also a lot tanner than his siblings, probably because he's mixed
Hmm.
race.
How does he have powers? How does he have the same power though?
He has like heat and fire. Oh, because the fire power comes from their mom's side. That's why she was married to the High Lord,
Hmm.
because she brings the fire power.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, that's her family's magic.
She should like be the high lady to begin with.
Yes. Anyway.
Oh, I forgot about that theory. I do remember that. But then shouldn't like one of his brothers also have?
Well, maybe Eris does.
You think Eris?
Eris also seems to be powerful as well. Like it's not like they're all losers and like Eris is definitely like a force to be reckoned with.
Wait, which court did they think Lucian? The
The
summer
summer
court?
court. Yeah.
Oh, so instead of like that, her Feyre's
Or
like friend.
Helion. Maybe no, because they go to the summer court. So
Yeah.
it's the dawn court,
Or
the
is it
day
summer?
court. Helion is the day court guy.
Kind
It's
of
the
would make
sun
sense if it
guy.
was the summer court because then he'd like get rid of the blood ruby thing.
No,
The sun guy.
well, they already do that. No, I'm pretty sure it's
Does
the
Helion
it's
have kids already? Like have an heir or no?
no, no.
Mm.
So they think it's Lucian because it is like very strongly hinted at. And I'm pretty sure it says in this book, like Feyre has a thought that is very much like, I think Lucian's father is actually like Helion or whatever. Because like it's said that like his mom and Helion like may or may not have had a thing during the war, which is like when Lucian was born. Anyway, Elaine's like, I want to marry my horrible boyfriend.
Yeah, she just keeps repeating like I was supposed to be married this week.
And Cassian, the king that he is like, she keeps saying that.
And it's not even a good line. Like I just feel like you could come up with a much more poetic way. Like my
Especially
marriage is
because Elaine is
gone.
supposed to be like we learn later in this book is that she kind of has seer like her powers from the cauldron are like seer powers,
Hmm.
right? So
Hmm.
she has like she has so many opportunities to say some spooky, mysterious things, and I feel like we're not getting enough spooky,
Right.
mysterious right now.
Well, she's not, yeah, she doesn't like know how to, yeah. Well, that I can forgive. Like, yeah, she's obviously not going
Yeah.
to be like into even Feyre was like not using her powers,
So anyway, they go to war planning in Amren's apartment, and she's using the Book of Breathings as a coaster, which is
Mm.
iconic. A
She's like, this
coaster for her
fucking book
cup
is
of
so
blood.
fucking annoying. Yeah.
Yeah, she's like the book won't stop talking. It's so fucking annoying.
I mean, I was thinking if we zoom out on Amren, and this becomes very much an issue later in this book, but like Amren is an interdimensional, all-powerful being that's like traveled really and is stuck in this world. And this is like possibly her one way to get out. And we're supposed to believe that like if she was given that chance, like it's implied that she's lived a really, really long time before coming to this world and living a really, really long time. Like she's had an much longer life, and like she's not human in that she isn't just gonna like forget the way that like you know, like her memories have faded. But
Yeah.
I just like, are we really supposed to believe that like if given the chance, she would like sacrifice her chance to like get back for
Well, I don't
these
think
like
she wants to get
schlubs?
back because I think right after this we see the bone carver, and I think him and Amryn are supposed to be from the same
I don't think
place.
they are.
I
No,
thought
they're
they
not.
were.
I don't think so because Amren's not a death god, is she? Like
We don't know
it,
what she is.
I don't
We
think
just know that
she's
she's trapped in a Fey form.
I don't think she's the same as the Bone Carver because the Bone Carver is him and his two siblings, who are the
Yeah.
Weaver is his sister, and then like the evil swan
The Fire
dude,
Lake guy, Swan Princess
right?
man.
Mm-hmm. Which like is kind of lame. He doesn't even eat people the way that it seems like the Bone Carver and the Weaver would do.
Well, it seems like he's going to be the big bad later in the season, later in the
Mm.
series.
Right, right, right.
Anyway,
Anyway,
basically, this whole chapter is just like, and that's what you missed on Glee, but like for war.
mm-hmm. For like what they've been doing while Feyre has been like undercover ops cover.
Like, I don't know. I don't really remember the specifics.
Yeah,
Spying and gathering troops. And I think Reese is like, I sent out a letter, a pretty pleased to all the High Lords asking to have a meeting. So we'll see how that
which
goes.
conveniently, I guess a bargain is really convenient for that. That's what I'm saying. Like that type of stuff to like to make it like get rid of like the prisoner's dilemma, you know, like have
Yeah.
what's the word, like incentive compatible. Yeah, like they can make
Yeah.
a bargain where like if anyone like does any shit or like attacks or like ruins it, they die. So like they can have like
Yeah.
safe meetings, which like is really useful, honestly, like for enemy meetings.
Yeah. Sure. Reese is also, once again, he's like mean to Nesta. He describes Nesta as like a feral animal or something. And Reese and Feyre defends Nesta. She's like, don't fucking talk about my sister like that, which I was like, yes. But this moment was really kind of ruined for me by the fact that the audiobook narrator chose to pronounce feral.
Yeah,
Feral?
everybody
No.
makes mistakes. Everybody has those days.
No. It's her job.
She just likes to spice it up. She like changes pronunciation. Yeah. Anyway, who is his narrator again?
It's not,
It's
I was about to
changed,
say
right?
it's not Eliana Kadushin.
Yeah, it
It
should
was
have
never
been. Honestly,
Eliana
it should have been. Like
Kadushin.
that girl, like
Let's
she hasn't really
see.
done any
I
other
think
major
Jennifer
series.
Akita was the other
Oh,
ones.
yeah, they
This is
switched though.
Amanda Lee Cobb.
Right. They switched from Jennifer, I think, they switched between the first and second book, I think. It really should have been Ileana Kadushin. Like I don't think she's done any other major stuff. And maybe she made like enough money from
Yeah, maybe she's like,
recording.
I'm set for
How
life.
how do those contracts usually work? Are they paid like
They're usually
royalties
just paid a
or
lump sum. No, they don't usually
Hmm,
get royalties.
that sucks.
I don't
Royalties would
know.
be so cool.
Yeah. No, that'd be
For
fucking
Ileana
awesome.
Kadushin deserves that. Yeah.
Yeah.
On the
I don't know.
audiobook.
I'm actually not familiar with how audiobook narrators are hired. It depends on the book and it depends on the narrator.
Mm-hmm.
Like Stephen Fry narrating, oh, I guess he's famous. Jim Dale narrating Harry
Jim
Potter.
Dale was also famous, wasn't he? They're
I don't
both
know. I feel like
British
Stephen Fry just
actors.
has lasting impact. I don't know.
Hmm.
Jim Dale, I
Maybe
feel like I
name
haven't heard of.
recognition.
I'd heard of
Fucking
Stephen Fry before I knew that he narrated Harry
Jim
Potter.
Dale. Like the thing with Jim, and we have a lot of qualms with Jim Dale, but I honestly, it's not just the voices for me. It's that like it's like he's never read the book before recording it. Like or he just like doesn't understand. Like just his inflection on so much dialogue just is wrong. Like
Yeah.
it just doesn't make sense.
Yeah. Okay.
Off topic. Anyway.
Yeah. They all have dinner. Or they're all having a fam dinner at the House of Wind, and Nesta comes. Obviously, Elaine doesn't. But Feyre is like, I want to learn to fly. And then she's like, oh no, what if Reese shuts me down? And I'm like, girl, are you the high lady or not? You're never gonna be the high lady if you keep having the mindset that Reese can shut you down. If you guys are
But
equals, he doesn't get to tell you what to do.
no, for real, but it doesn't, yeah, I don't know. It just doesn't make any sense that, yeah, she can't be, they're not co-rulers. Like, that's not the way, I guess in theory you could have that, but like someone's
It's not
calling
how
the
it's
shots and it's
working.
it's not Vera.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Like, yeah.
but yeah, apparently learning to fly is like really fucking hard because I was wondering if she like can.
Yeah. But Azriel, okay, this is the where I was like, okay, I like Azriel a lot better now, where he's like,
Hmm.
I can teach how to fly because
Oh,
I didn't learn
interesting. Because you
until I
didn't
was an
like,
adult.
it's way
No, I think
different.
Azriel's a fucking creep. I still think he's a fucking creep for the most part. I
Mhm.
don't understand the obsession with him. It's like the same people that like Jonathan from Stranger Things. Jonathan from Stranger
Mm,
Things is a fucking creep, and he
yeah.
still is a fucking creep, even though he's dating Nancy. Like,
They stopped
but
dating, I
at
think,
this
after the
point, I
most
was like,
recent season I saw.
Azriel, yeah, he is like, I learned to fly as an adult, so I can teach you. And I was like, that's sad.
I know, it's really sad. Yeah. But yeah, it's wild that, yeah, like she can't, they're like, you're never gonna be able to like learn in time. But Reese is like, no, no, you should have like as much of an edge as you can. Like any edge is better than nothing. But like, yeah, it seems like, yeah, she can shape shift. The limit of her shape shifting is non-existent. Like, why can't she could, I feel like there's just other things. And can Tamlin, and it's supposed to be like Tamlin's power that he gave her, but like, can Tamlin do anything except for the beast form? Like, is that the only thing she can shape shift? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I
Like,
don't know.
could Tamlin do
I
other
don't know.
stuff,
It's
but he just like is
very
so uncreative that he like never has, or
yeah.
what?
I feel like yeah.
Well, he shapeshifted his like sentries into wolves, I guess. Like that was him doing it, right? That wasn't like
Yeah. Well, maybe he's had so many centuries to perfect like the perfect like attack creature. And like
is
that's
that the
what his
perfect?
stupid
Or
monster
maybe it was just like for
is.
plot reasons,
Like
like
it's the
Beauty and the
perfect
Beast,
combination of like
sexy and
strength
cute.
and speed. Sexy, cute. 30, flirty, and thriving. But yeah, Nessa comes to dinner and she's like, fine, I will help you as long as you kill all of my enemies. And I'm like, valid. And she does this the whole time while not breaking eye contact with Cassian because the two of them just go absolutely feral anytime they're in the same room. Like they're just absolutely insane. Later on, Cassian's teaching Feyre how to fight, and Nesta shows up, and Cassian does the quote, come hither motion towards Nesta to like get her to join in on the fight. And I'm like, you can't tell me that was a coincidence. You can't tell me that wasn't foreshadowing. That's called foreshadowing. But there is like, Nesta, why won't you come to the High Lords meeting and tell them all about what happened to you? Like, you're being so unreasonable. And I'm like, Feyre, literally, that was you a few months ago. Like, are you telling me a few months ago you would have been cool going to all the High Lords and like telling them all the shit that happened to you? I don't think so. I don't think so. Excuse me.
Yeah, I don't think so. I don't leave saving of the world to
I
the
don't think
men.
so. I don't think
I don't
so.
think so.
Fade into the present day. Mr. Incredibles.
Yeah, I know. Actually, when I was listening to that, my first thought was like, wow, she's being so unreasonable. Like, come on, get over it. But like, yeah, no. And then when I thought about it, I was like, yeah, no,
Like,
it
sorry,
is
she
really
doesn't
bold
want to
of
trauma dump.
Feyre. Right, right. Or like not even trauma up, but like, yeah, as she puts it, like whore out her trauma. Just like
Yeah.
it's a little dramatic, but not really.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, welcome to the 90s, Mr. Nesta.
So she does flying lessons with Azriel. I just want to say that she makes her wings look the same as Azriel's, which is cute, but also since like wings kind of equal dicks in this universe, it's like kind of
And
weird.
Farrah's got a big dick. Yeah.
It's kind of weird. Yeah. And then they go to the library. And Fair is like, I've never been to a real library before, as if this is supposed to be surprising.
Right. Who would have taken you to a library for why? You're no Matilda.
Like, ma'am, of course. Yeah. Wow. I'm so shocked that the illiterate human had never been to a real public library.
Like never been to
Crazy.
a city. Yeah.
Like, what? Ah.
And so like there's priestesses here that have all been like
They're all
various
survivors of
different
the
like sexual
assault.
assault.
Yeah.
And there are spells in the library that humans can do, which I thought was interesting.
Yeah. That like don't require you to have inner magic. And the head priestess slash librarian is named Clotho, and she had her fingers broken and her tongue cut out, so she couldn't talk or write about what she'd done.
What had been done to her?
Yeah. I thought that was really interesting because that's a random Shakespeare. That's a deep Shakespeare cut to his play Titus Andronicus, in which there's a character Lavinia who that exact thing happens to,
Oh,
who
really?
she gets like assaulted and then they cut out her tongue and they cut off her hands. They don't just break her fingers, but they cut off her hands so that she can't like
Write it
communicate with
out.
anyone.
Mm.
And I was like, what's the connection, Sarah? Like, what's the point? Because that's a very specific thing.
Sarah definitely like has that knowledge in her store. Like she was definitely like a
If for whatever reason.
English kid. Like
Yeah.
right when she was like writing this shit at like
Yeah.
she like quarter what
She was
Throne of
also like a
Glass.
religious studies major or something, I'm pretty
Oh,
sure.
really?
Yeah, something like that.
Funny. That's really silly.
But then Feyre tries to start like sexy shit. This is before Reese is like, I'm gonna go read on my own because you're a bad. She tries to start like sex. They're like flirting in the library. I'm like, you're flirting in the sexual
Right.
abuse survivors library. Like, not just the library, but the sexual abuse survivors library. Are you kidding me? Like, she's like, oh, what if he went down on me right now? I was like, what if you fell off the balcony, Hera?
Yeah,
Like,
and Reese is like, right, I don't know how to tell you this, but not the place. Also, you can't fucking read, and that's why we're here. So
So the last thing the episodes that I have is that they go to the prison, except for right before that, Feyre has a bad dream. And it seems to be implied that her and Reese just kind of switch off on their bad streams. And I'm wondering, like, they're in a townhouse, and I'm wondering how soundproof the townhouse is. Because are the neighbors just constantly being woken up by Feyre and Reese's bad dreams, a la Charlie and Bella? Like, they're screaming into their
yeah.
pillows. The neighbors sitting next door, like, oh my God, there they go again.
Yeah, I didn't think of that, but I really a little more soundproofing, but also maybe
But
not because like
when they fuck,
but the
his roar
essence,
shakes the
that's true. Oh my
mountains,
God.
Rachel. So,
Could be a figure of speech.
right, but it's
But the
pretty
essence
fucking
of
loud.
the essence of the sound
Yeah.
remains, even if you magically soundproof.
So they just wake up in a cold sweat and they're like, why? I don't know why I feel so
God.
disturbed.
Oh, another thing that we skipped over is that like Nesta is refusing to like learn how to fight or whatever, but she is like hanging out with Amryn. Or does this happen
Yeah.
later? Yeah.
No, this happens here,
And
yeah.
she's hanging out with Amryn and like getting ostensible training, but Farrah's like trying to convince her to like learn how to fight or whatever. And she's like, you can like, you keep saying you want to like get revenge on like these people, whatever. Like, why don't you like do it yourself? And that's just like, why would I bother killing my enemies when someone else could do it for me? It's like,
These
right,
losers
listen,
do it for me.
same. And in that way,
That way, Nesta and I are the same.
yeah.
Amryn also looks at Nesta like she's like a feral, like she's a cat with a new toy. Also, just would like to point
Oh,
that out.
nice. Good. Fire that away. Good job.
Yes, and proving that Nesta's better than the rest of them. She's the only one that's not afraid of Amryn. Like everyone else is like always tiptoeing
Mm,
around Amryn, like not wanting to insult her. And she looks at her, she's like, "Why the fuck do your eyes glow? Like, why are you so
mm-hmm.
weird? What's wrong with you?" And Amryn's like,
Yeah.
"Finally, an
Someone who like,
equal."
yeah.
Good, good. All these losers have been so boring for centuries.
Oh, when like Lucian meets Elaine, because Farrah like goes in his head to like see what he's just like to check. And I was just like, why doesn't she? Because they're all like, what's Elaine? Like, is Elaine gonna kill herself? Like, what's she thinking? And like, she could easily also go in like Nesta or Elaine's heads, I feel like,
Yeah.
to check.
Oh,
Like, I
there's
don't
this
know.
weird element of her feeling like it's violating to go in other people's heads because when she accidentally dips into Lucian's heads, like she does it accidentally a few times before this, she's always like, "Oh, it's wrong. Like I shouldn't be in his head."
Which is fair. But like, I just feel like, yeah, they're just like all so worried. And like, I just feel like as a welfare check, it's like
Yeah.
fine. Like, I don't
It
know.
just yeah, it
Like, it's
feels
like,
like
she can
it's
either
and it's
like,
not like she would know. Like not to
that's what I'm saying. No, that's what I'm saying. Nesta might somehow know. So
oh,
like, maybe
Nesta would
not. But
absolutely be
like,
like, "The fuck
Elaine,
is going
right.
on?"
Elaine would have no fucking clue.
Whatever. Cassie and Farrah go on a field trip to the
Hmm.
prison to ask
Yeah.
for the bone carver to fight with them.
Which is really just like so silly. This prison thing makes no sense. Like apparently they're like, oh my God, this is like the most impenetrable fortress. Like no one can ever get out. Like once you go in, there is no out. So I have to like take it really seriously when I put people in there. But like actually most of the people are in there because they want to be like they
Yeah,
want
the
out
bone
at any
carver's
time.
like, I like it in here. I don't want to be let out. Because they're like,
Right. Like
well, if you fight with us, we'll give you your freedom. And he's like, no, thank you.
thanks, but no
I like
thanks.
myself. I don't
Right.
know why they're so afraid of the bone carver. Like, he seems like a cool dude. Like, what has he ever done to them? Really? What has he ever done to them? Like, the weaver tries to eat them. The bone carver just
Yeah.
like sits there and carves his little bones and says like cryptic shit.
To be fair, he probably can't eat them in the prison.
Just saying, like,
Yeah.
what has he ever done to you? I'm just really not getting the sense. Like he seems kind of cool. He seems like he could be like Amarin's like 2.0, you know? Like
Hmm.
you just
Sure,
let him
sure.
out. But he doesn't want to be out because he's hiding from his siblings.
He's just in a silly, goofy mood.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, but he's also like his story. He's like, me and my siblings were death gods.
Hmm.
And then we were an ancient Fey warrior contained us. Like in these forms. Like, are we gonna get that? Is that somehow like
That's
Aelin? Is
relevant, or
that
is it
like
just like
a
lore? Right.
right?
Is it a shout out? Yeah, it's Bryce. Fucking Bryce.
And then the bone carver is basically like, so yeah, so I don't want to be let out, but I'll help you in this war if you bring me this like mirror. It's in the Court of Nightmares that my
Mhm.
sister liked to look into. I'm not really sure why. But
I think
he's like, I
he's
want this
sure.
mirror.
Well, I think he knows
No,
why.
he knows. That was me commenting. That was me commenting. I'm not really sure why he wants this. And I don't think we ever find out.
I wonder if it's going to be another like fairy tale throwback, like the same way that we're getting the Swan Prince, the brothers Swan Prince. Like, is she like
Well, I
mirror
know
mirror on
that
the
they
wall?
get the mirror.
But is the Weaver? You know what I mean? Yeah. Is it Snow White? Is it like mirror mirror on the wall? I don't know.
Yeah, but they're like, how will we find it or something? And then I think
Nesta
that we get
finds
a
it.
like cause to like. All I know is that we get
Nesta
a like cause
practices
to
the same
like.
way that like Feyre was practicing last book with the
Yeah, I
fucking.
was like, drink,
It's
like
always the
cause to
Weaver shit.
like, absolutely.
Like gods to like.
Gotta end it on a high note, like cause to like. Okay, let me see your blanket.
Oh, it doesn't. I haven't made that much progress on it because I've been making a different one.
Rachel's been crocheting a blanket this whole episode.
I made a whole nother heart blanket, like small, like, well, it's actually a lot bigger than I expected.
It's always bigger than you expected. The story of Rachel's crocheting journey is wow, that's a lot bigger than I expected.
But like, why are there so many baby blanket patterns if like babies aren't even supposed to have blankets, right? Like, isn't
You
that like
wrap
safe
them
sleep?
up. I think it's to wrap them up.
Oh, whatever. It's really bold. You never told me. Anyway, moving on.
Okay. Okay.
So, no Catskill. Allison, where can they find us?
You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok at We Read It What Night, on Twitter at We Read It Podcast. You can email us, we read it what night at gmail.com. You can check out our Etsy shop, Evelyn and Adelaide, and buy some merch, or you can support the podcast through our Patreon link in the description. That's it. I always feel like, especially when I'm saying the beginning, because I've said so many times, I say it super fast. Like you can find us on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. I always feel like those voices at the end of radio commercials that like for drug commercials that like say things super fast. For
That is a
listeners
skill.
outside of the United States, like yes,
Yeah.
in fact, we do have commercials for drugs, for medication. And yeah, at the end they're like, may cause stroke, blah, 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 blah. And I always feel like
Are you
that.
sure they don't have those in other countries? Why wouldn't they?
I just remember reading a post that was like one of the things, it was like someone from Europe. I'm sure the United States is not the only country, but I do think this is not like a norm to have like medication
I mean, that
commercials.
actually makes sense to me just because, like, yeah, people aren't prescribing themselves drugs, but like, if you have you know what I mean? Like, just so you're aware of it and you can like ask your doctor, is this like the
Yeah,
right
I'm not, I
call?
wasn't passing a judgment statement on it. I was just saying this one person was like, yeah, when I moved to the US, like this was one of like the weird culture shocks. Like, why do you guys advertise drugs?
Mm, why not?
And
Is a
I'm
better
like, you know
question.
what? There has definitely been at least one time that I have seen a commercial for a medication
Right.
that I was like, wait, let me ask my doctor about that. And it ended up being like really helpful.
Oh, that's cool. Hey, kids, don't buy drugs.
Sell them
Become a rock
instead.
star. People will give you them for free.
And that's that on that.
Godspeed, comrades.
Godspeed.